Welcome back to my channel, everyone. Street Tips here. What we have here is the electrolytic silver cell. We've got 3 amps of current at 3.5 volts going through the cell. What we have is an anode filter basket with impure silver shot, and the electricity goes through the silver, through that electrode bar, dissolves the silver, and then the silver passes down here through the electrolyte and then plates out inside there as high purity elemental silver. As the silver, the impure silver up here, dissolves, what happens is it's going to have a little bit of gold, a little bit of palladium, a little bit of platinum in it, and that gets trapped in the filter and left behind in the anode filter. And so that's what we're going to be refining today, the anode filters from the electrolytic silver cell. Here we go. And what I have is my anode filters for my silver cell here, and little storage compartments are full, so I've got to process these. I've got a little bit of distilled water in here. I'm going to start out by adding some liquid to these to soften them up. They're hard as a brick, so I got to soften all these up to get started. Now we're going to start rinsing the slimes into the beaker here. We've got all the solids rinsed down into this beaker in the back here. So now what we'll do is we'll filter some of this solution. It's going to have silver in it. We want to get rid of some of this so we can start adding some nitric acid into the solids to dissolve all the silver and metals that are soluble in nitric out of the solids. While I'm waiting for this liquid to pull through the filter, what I'll do is add a little bit of distilled water back here to the filters. Now I'm going to pour in some nitric acid in here, and we'll start dissolving any soluble material out of these filters with nitric acid. I've got most of the water out of here. What we'll do is we'll cover this up now and set it up on our heater. Now we're going to insert my nitric delivery apparatus here. I'm just going to pour in about 100 milliliters of nitric acid to get started here. Pour it right on in. Not too much because it's going to probably react fairly vigorously. I'll open the stopcock valve here and start letting some nitric acid down into our reaction. It's going to drip it in a little at a time here. I've turned the heat up a little bit on this. I've got all that nitric acid down in the reaction beaker now. But if you look down here, I can see that I've still got some plenty of solids down here in the bottom. So that's going to have to be dissolved out of there before we can proceed. So I'm going to set up a second nitric acid dose in our delivery system and continue to feed nitric in here. Here you can see we got a continuous, steady, slow drip of nitric acid going into our reaction beaker. We're going to get everything that will dissolve in nitric to go into solution in our reaction beaker. Here we're about 6.5 hours into the reaction since I've started adding nitric acid, and you can see there's some foaming going on there. So what I'm going to do is rinse this down and add a little bit more distilled water. And you'll see here in a minute, I've still got plenty of nitric acid that needs to go into the reaction. So we'll just keep feeding it in until we get all of this nitric down into those solids in the beaker. Here you can see down in the bottom of the beaker we've got plenty of solids that need to go into solution before we can go to the next step. And so this is going to take a lot of time, and what I'll end up having to do here is probably bust this up into a multi-part series. I'm going to try adding a little bit more water to provide a place for the solids, the silver that's dissolving in here, to go into solution. The time is 8 p.m. I've got that last dose of nitric in there. And now what we're going to do is I've got some palladium standard testing solution. I'm going to put a little bit of it on this piece of filter paper here. We're going to test our stannous chloride testing solution, make sure it's indicating properly, to show you what it should look like if we've got palladium in solution. Here we go. you'll see it turns a green color, which indicates palladium in solution. I'm going to take the stirring rod, reach down in here, get a little bit of the solution on the filter paper, and let's see what kind of test we can get out of this now. It's got a lot of black suspended solids, and I can see a blue color which indicates copper in solution, which doesn't surprise me. So let's see what we get for a Stannis test on this. And I don't see a big reaction for palladium. I'm starting to see something there, a little bit of a red outline. Not sure what that is. We've got about 800 milliliters of nitric acid in here so far. There's still plenty of solids down on the bottom of the beaker. I think what we'll do, I've been at this since noon, and it's 8 p.m. so it's taken about 8 hours to get this far into the process. I think what we're going to do now is just go ahead and cut the heat, let this settle overnight, and we'll pick this back up in the morning after we can get at this solution, see what we've got here. So this will conclude part 1 of the Silver Cell anode filters precious metals recovery video. Thank you for watching.